Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we've got a This Year in Perfume, and we're at the 2012 mark, a decade ago. 2012 is a special year for me, especially as it relates to perfume, because it's really the time that I started to heavily get into this hobby. I started to buy things like Aventus, Himalaya, Silver Mountain Water. You know, I started to buy the Creeds, and then I discovered Amouage, and there's a fragrance here that really encapsulated the house of Amouage for me. So this is a big year because it really started my hobby, and I started out different than most people. I did wear some designer fragrances. You know, I think my girlfriend at the time had bought me that Issey Miyake fragrance from the mid-90s, and I wore that. You know, I didn't care. But once I discovered Creed and Amouage, I really started to dive into the hobby. And that was a decade ago. That was about 2012. And that was the time that I realized that there's so much more to this. And I really started to get into the hobby. But I did make a mistake. And the mistake that I made initially is I mistakenly equated price with quality. And that is an early mistake that a novice, a rookie, could easily make. You know, you see these Creeds for $300, $400, $500. You see Amouages for $300+, and then you see a Lalique fragrance for $30. Of course, you're going to think the higher quality or the higher priced fragrance is higher quality. Not always the case. Quality is sometimes subjective. Sometimes you're paying for the brand's name, like Roja. You know, sometimes you're paying for the prestige that the brand brings, like MFK, or, you know, that kind of thing. So be open-minded when you get into the hobby is my advice. You know, don't shut something down because it's 20 bucks. You know, Midnight in Paris used to sell for 20 bucks. Now it sells for add a 0 or add a, you know, change the 2 to a 3 and add a 0. You know, and that's just, I've seen so many fragrances like that. So don't dismiss something because it's cheap, but at least it got my foot in the door. And then, you know, I kind of worked my way backwards. I discovered that, wait a minute, there are some amazing designers, and there's some designers on this list too. There's lots of niche, but there's some designers. We've got some Dior, we've got some Guerlain, we've got a bunch of niche, we've got some samples on stuff that I will be talking about soon, so this is going to be an amazing video. But first, we're going to do Scent of the Day, and Scent of the Day is one of the greatest fragrances ever created. I know many people who would claim this to be the greatest fragrance ever created, and I couldn't argue with them. Oh, it's absolutely stunning. It is Guerlain's Mitsouku Eau de Toilette. Now, this is a vintage bottle. They don't come this way any longer. I got this from my good friend Anuj at Enchante, and I've been wearing this today, and you know what? Just the construction is mind-boggling of this fragrance. It's so perfect, you know, everything is exactly where it should be. Nothing is out of place. And when you wear it, you get so many different facets. You know, the spices hit you. If you love Chypre fragrances with that mossy base, the old bottles like this that have this oak moss in the base are absolutely stunning. And, oh my God. I mean, when I started in this, like I said, a decade ago, the other mistake I made is I dismissed feminine fragrances. If it was targeted towards women like this, I never would have worn it, ever. I never would have even given it a chance. That's something that came probably 3 or 4 years ago, where I started to open my mind and you know, try things like Shalimar. AC at the Channel Smells Good was a big influence on me, getting me to try feminine fragrances. And, you know, I'm very grateful I did, because there's a whole other world out there. If you dismiss stuff like this, you're missing out on some of the greatest perfumery ever created. And, you know, it would be a shame. Because back then, you know, there were these strongly dividing lines, let's say. Now, something like this would be considered unisex, maybe even leaning masculine because of the oak moss, the vetiver. Those are two very masculine notes. And even though there are florals in here, you know, this is completely dead smack down the middle for me. And I love Mitsouku. It's one of my favorite Chypre fragrances. I think I enjoy wearing Diaghilev a little bit more because it is, you know, it's more animalic. I like that. I like the cumin. I like the civet. but this is kind of where it all started for me, and you have to give it big props. I do have, or I should say, in my sights, I've been watching some Coty Chiffre, which was kind of like the, you know, founding, the alpha and omega of, you know, Chiffre fragrances, Coty's Chiffre, and I would love to smell that one day, but bottles are pretty expensive, but, you know, I've been kind of keeping my eye on them. Okay, let's jump into this. So let's start first. 2012 is the year of probably the most popular fragrance, if you listen to the mainstream, would be this, Versace Eros. And you see I have a sample. I don't have a bottle because I don't like this stuff. It's minty. It's very sweet, disgustingly sweet. Just this gross mixture of sweet and fresh and apple. So it's like mint, apple, tonka, and a load of ambroxan with a absolute, you know, metric ton of vanilla. And that vanilla is way too sweet for my nose. It's very childish. Sometimes I smell this on people, you know, walking around the office or something, and they're dressed to the nines, everything's great, and then you smell this on them, and you're like, oh, you know, you smell like you just came out of a bodega. You know, it's not good. I will do a review on that. I'll talk about it. I mean, I have the sample. I might as well just do a quick hit review at night on it, because otherwise I probably won't wear it. But yes, that was a Givaudan creation, and I think it put Versace back on the, like, mainstream map. That was their company. That was their ability to then go compete with stuff like Sauvage and stuff like that. Okay, next we're going to go to a sample that I really liked and adored, and I really enjoyed discovering this sample, and I have more from the house still. I have a lot more videos to do on this house. If you haven't watched my review or my interview with the owner and founder and true perfumer of Papillon, Liz Moores, I would highly encourage you to do that. I think she has an interview tonight on Smurfy Girl's channel, but she is just an amazing woman, an amazing creator. You know, her fragrance, her entire line blew me away. Even the one that she most recently made for her daughter's wedding, you know, I could easily wear that. And, you know, it's just everything that she has created is such quality. You can smell the time and attention and ingredients in her work. And this one is Tobacco Rose. So there's going to be a couple from her house in here, because her house is, it was founded, I think, in 2012. At least according to Parfumo. I don't know if, you know, when we spoke, I think she made it seem like it was maybe 8 years old, that it wasn't a decade old yet, but Parfumo has it at 2012, so that's what I'm going to go off of. But if you go watch our interview, I think she said she thought it was maybe only 8 or 9 years old, but I'm going off of Parfumo. So Tobacco Rose, one of the most realistic tobacco, Bulgarian rose with May rose. Not one of the most realistic tobacco, sorry, one of the most realistic rose. There's actually no tobacco in this, which is what makes it interesting. There is this French hay that gives this dry tobacco-like smell, but it's very unique. And I did a full review on this the day before I interviewed Liz Moore, or the day or two before, because I wanted to get to know more of her work. Man, I am awestruck with this. In fact, there's a rose fragrance in this 2012 breakdown. There's a couple of them that use a beautiful rose note. And, you know, Eugene's fragrance, La Dalle Exquise, is a rose castoreum, basically. You know, there's a lot more going on, but it's a rose castoreum. And since I like the animalics as much as I love this, and since money is, you know, you have a limited amount of money to put to work, you have to figure out how you're going to, you know, put it to work in the hobby. I'll probably go for Eugene's fragrance. But this is absolutely, positively full bottle worthy. And I love how she doesn't gouge on her prices. Her prices are very fair. Value for money, I think, is through the roof with this house. And she uses, you know, real ambergris. And, you know, she's one of the few who uses the real ingredients still. So big fan of that house. And big fan of Liz Moore's. Okay, next we're going to go to a sample that was sent to me. I think Will sent me this. Thank you, Will. I did a video, an unboxing on some of the stuff that he had sent, and I did a early impression on one of the sister fragrances from this house, Oud Assam, I think it was called. And this is called Ambre Loup by the house of Rania J. So early impression on this coming very soon. He had said it's his favorite amber. I can smell it from the plumber's tape that he put around the sample so it didn't leak in transit. And yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a good amber. I'm a big fan of stuff like Ambre Sultan, Ambre Rousse by Parfum d'Empire, that kind of stuff. So Ambre Loup, very excited to get to know. It looks woody and resinous. I think there's even oud in there too, real oud. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Xerjoff, which I know it's a shite house. I only own one full bottle, and that's Xerjoff Homme. I love that fragrance. This is a sample that was sent to me by DL Qualia is his username. He kind of pops in and pops out. You'll see him sometimes in the comments, and then he'll kind of go away for a bit, and then he'll come back. But he was very kind to send me some samples. This one is called Xerjoff Gao. And I must admit, I did like this, even though the oud in this, it's an oud perfume, basically, a woody, spicy oud in a nutshell. Even though the oud in this is a bit harsh and a bit industrial. That's a good word for it. It's very industrial. This stuff is an absolute beast. It lasts forever. There's lots of saffron. There's Nagamatha oil, which is cypriol. There's Laotian oud and Thai oud and some patchouli and amber. And I really like this. I mean, I wouldn't give Xerjoff $250 for a bottle of this, but I must say, as far as outside of Xerjoff Homme, I like this perfume. I don't think I would buy it because now that I've got to know real oud houses like Russian Adam, who, by the way, Aries Ladore has his new collection up on his website now, I think. If you want to participate in the Indian Attar collection, you can go buy samples and you can go buy little tolas, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about that line very soon. And getting to know Russian Adam and what real oud smells like, probably I would save my money for his work, if something ever popped up. But for Xerjoff, I mean, I was impressed. But I was not impressed with the sprayer. The damn thing doesn't work. Nothing comes out when you spray it. And so, the fact that these luxury houses use these shitty samples that, even the houses like Versace use is a travesty. They should use better samples than this. In my opinion, you're paying a premium for their work. They should at least put the money back into the business and put more time and effort into the sample presentation. Speaking of luxury houses that use shitty samples, here's a Roja. Look at this. They should not be using these. This is Roja Ambre Oud Parfum. Now, I did a video on this. If you go to Roja's playlist on my channel, you can find Ambre Oud. And I liked this one. I definitely liked it more than Musk Oud, but I didn't like it enough to buy a bottle. It's this woody oriental thing. There's a little bit of smoke from this birch. There's beautiful iris. He claims real ambergris. I've never heard him claim real oud, though. And, it doesn't smell like there's real oud in here. If the brand says there is, there is. We'll put it that way. Even if they only do 0.00001 so they can say there's real oud in here. It doesn't smell that way, but it's still a good creation. I like amber oud. I enjoyed wearing it for the day I gave it a full wear, but I don't think I liked it enough to go spend the kind of money Roja is asking for on a bottle. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Matriarch, another house which you'll see some early impressions on very soon because I have some samples. And this is Blackbird. You'll also see it written as Black Number 1. So both ways. I don't know if it was Blackbird and now it's Black Number 1 or the other way around, but there's kind of the note listing if you want to pause that. It's Northwest Conifers, Puget Sound Seaweed, Black Leather, Rare Oud, and Cannabis. There's also a White Sage and Kelp note in the top. Very, very artistic fragrance. And if you don't know the House of Matriarch, they are a house that is 100% natural. Very hard to make perfume 100% natural well, because synthetics are kind of what ties everything together. But I found that the House of Matriarch does a very good job. Now, her prices are very high. She's overpriced in my opinion. And I think she knows that, because sometimes she'll do these 50% off sales. And whenever she does a 50% off sale, that's when you can go buy her fragrances. But it's leathery. There's a beautiful cannabis note in here. Probably the best cannabis note since, you know, Nasomato's Black Afghano. These are probably two of the best cannabis notes I've ever sniffed. So I'll do a video on this very soon. I'll wear it as my scent of the day and do a video on it. There's even some animalics in the base. Apparently there's some real ambergris and hyrax, which I love. Hyrax is a very hard note to work with, because if it's not dosed exactly right, it's really off-putting. Now, next, we're going to go to a Diptyque, and excuse me whilst I hydrate. So we're going to go to a Diptyque, and the EDT of this was actually released in 2003, way back when. But then they released the Eau de Parfum in 2012. So here it is, Tam Dao. Tam Dao is Diptyque's sandalwood fragrance, if you will. They are trying to imitate the smell of Mysore sandalwood. And you know what? It's very pleasant. I don't think there's a drop of real sandalwood in here. I don't think there's a drop of real Mysore sandalwood in here. Maybe there is. If the brand says there is, again, there is. But this is a very well done synthetic sandalwood. And I don't mind that. Everything doesn't have to be, you know, 100% real. If the perfumer, that's the perfumer's job. I mean, the perfumer's job is to create an accord. And if they can create a beautiful sandalwood accord with synthetics, then that's fantastic. I mean, it's hard to do, but usually you need a blend of both real and synthetics. This is sandalwood with cedar, cypress, and coriander. Cypress is a very underused note. The coriander adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of spiciness to it. And the sandalwood here is, you know, it doesn't have that buttery, smooth Mysore you're going to smell and stuff like Santal Galore from Arige Ladore. You know, it's a Diptyque, but it's very well done. I mean, for what it is, it's very well done. I'm a fan. I don't think I would buy a bottle, but I like it. Okay, next we're going to go to one that I don't like so much, and I will do a video on this. I've had this decant for 2 years, and this is how much I've used of it. You know, it's Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. Okay, quite the name. And so Jacques Paul's created this. Is this a good freshie? Yes. It is. You know, I'm not bashing it. But it's just very boring. It's this peppery, musky. It's basically this pepper musk fresh thing is what you end up getting. With a little bit of, you know, woods. Some sandalwood and maybe some cedar or something like that. But if you're the kind of guy who just wants one perfume for your entire year, you buy one bottle a year and you just want to smell fresh and nice, you know, especially if you live in Texas where it's 9 months of the year hot, 8 or 9 months hot, Allure Homme Sport smells, oh, Extreme, smells best when it's really warm. It's a great warm weather freshie, but it's too boring for me. I can't wear that. I mean, by hour 1, I'm ready to scrub it off and put something else on. Okay, now we're going to go to an Amouage, and I really like this fragrance. I don't think I would buy a full bottle, but I'm glad I have 3 of these little 2 ml samples. I'll do a video on it very soon. This is Opus 6. So I'm not sure who created Opus 6, but I can tell you there's actually a little blurb here. Let's see. It comes with this little blurb. This is a niche sample with a cap. The sprayer always works. The sprayer on this is better than some bottles. Oh, it's fantastic. It even clicks into place. Listen. Look at that. That is a niche sample, folks. To any brands out there watching. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. But, yeah, this is really good stuff. Maybe it is full bottle worthy. Hell, I mean, it's this peppery frankincense with cypriol, nagamata oil, patchouli, gum rock rose, which is a unique, I think that is, I think they were saying that's unique to Oman, and sandalwood, and ambrenum. So it says that this is inspired by the omniscient allure of a library. Oh, that's for the collection. Okay, a place where the soul leaves an imprint of the art of living. The Amouage Library Collection. Damn it, that's still the collection. Where's the actual fragrance? Okay, here we go. Opus 6 is an amber, leather, and woody fragrance inspired by the destruction and reinvention of knowledge and memories. Top of Sichuan pepper, frankincense, St. Thomas Bay, heart of Paraplaka, cypriol, patchouli, and ambrenum, Z11, not sure what Z11 is, sandalwood, and cistus. And so they must be calling gum rock rose cistus. Maybe it's the same thing. Gum rock rose must be cistus labdanum. I know there is a specific rose that grows in Oman that Amouage likes to use in its perfumes from time to time. Back in the old days, they used to do it like in gold because it was like an Omani staple. And I can't remember exactly what that rose is, but I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. But that's a beautiful, that library collection is really underrated. And, you know, if I was going to buy one, it might be Opus 9 because I really like the way Nathalie Lorson and Pierre Negrin did that one. But this is really good, too. I'm not sure who the perfumer is, but it's good. It's a good fragrance. I'll do a full review soon. Okay, last decant of the decant section, and then we'll get to some of the full bottles. So the last one is a Lubin, and it's called Korrigan. Korrigan. Came out in 2012. Of course, it wouldn't be on this list if it didn't. And this is a strange fragrance. Very strange. It's like this gourmand, spicy, musky thing. Okay, that's the best way I could describe it. Gourmand, spicy, musky. It's got cognac, saffron, and juniper in the top. Ambrette, lavender, and whiskey in the mid. Leather, musk, oud, vetiver, and cedar in the base. And it comes off smelling boozy. Of course, boozy and milky. So there's like this milky, boozy, musky thing going on with a touch of oud. And a touch of leather in the dry down. It's very strange. Extremely unique, but strange fragrance. You know, I like my gourmands like Amen. Whenever I want a gourmand, I reach for Amen or Animal, let's say, which is a very underrated fragrance. It actually came out a year before Amen. Most people don't know that. But, yes, I mean, Korrigan is, Thomas Fontaine created that. So I'll do a review on that sometime soon, but I have to wear it more. It's detailed. Okay, we're going to go to a Cartier next, and it comes in this nice little travel pouch, which I really like for a little 12 ml bottle or whatever the hell this is. Look at this little thing. It's perfect. It even has a sprayer. It's not a splash. This is Cartier's Dune Soir. So Dune Soir came out in 2012. Mathilde Laurent, the in-house perfumer of Cartier, created this. And she basically took Jean-Claude Elena's work on Déclaration, and she added some rose. Beautiful rose. But she kept the Déclaration skeleton, if you will. Okay, so she used the chassis of Déclaration and added this really masculine rose, just stapled it on top of it. The cardamom, the cumin, the pepper, that sandalwoody base is all there. Nutmeg. But the rose in this is, for a designer, it's really beautiful. Very well done. If you're looking for a masculine rose, Déclaration d'un Soir is one you should definitely look into. And how about these little bottles? They're perfect. I love these. 12.5 mils. This is way more than enough, you know, for me to talk about. I think I got this for 10 bucks, 12 bucks. You know, great value for money, especially when you have a big collection. Those are great to be able to get to know the fragrance and talk about them, but not, you know, saddle yourself with 100 mils of juice. Okay, next we are going to go to some 100 ml bottles. We've got the beginning of the clone wars, at least in my mind. There were obviously clones before, but 2012 is where the clones really started to take off. 2011, 2012. 2011 with Mancera's Cedrat Boisé, which was basically a clone or a very close copy of Aventus. And this, which is La Yuqawam by Rasasi. The best Rasasi fragrance, in my opinion. This is saffron, frankincense, leather, and it's very close to what they're trying to copy is this, Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. And I can tell you they did a hell of a job. Tuscan Leather has a much more distinct raspberry note. La Yuqawam almost comes off as smelling like a berry smoothie. Okay, so not just raspberry, but you get like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and it's kind of blended together. But the rest of the scent, I mean, they did a fantastic, spot-on job of creating a imitation of this. And so when my Tuscan Leather bottle is sadly out, I think the juice is right about to the T of Tuscan is where the juice line is. Once that's gone, in 5, 10 years, whatever it is, I probably will not buy another bottle. Tom Ford has actually really disappointed me. Estee Lauder is just gutting that brand. And so I've been buying vintage Tom Ford bottles when I can. I recently picked up Vert d'Encens, and I have a new Tom Ford, well, an old Tom Ford, but a new full bottle for me on the way because I love this fragrance so much that's now officially discontinued. I won't reveal it yet, although I think I did leave it in the comments already. But yeah, for me, I mean, this is just as fun to wear. I enjoy this just as much. There's almost no drop off. I mean, I could almost say it's a, I don't really care. I have no preference. I could wear either or. And, you know, with the prices of perfume and some of these houses are just taking the piss on, you know, the pricing. It's absolutely outrageous. I have no problem. I got this for, I don't remember, 50 bucks maybe for 100. Oh, it's 75 mils. Sorry, 75 mils, but still. So yes, it scratches that itch. Definitely scratches the itch. And that is like shots fired across the bow. I mean, the Arabic houses really started to prove themselves a decade ago. You know, I think they have the potential to do more than just work as clone houses. I think they kind of box themselves in because if you have a perfumer that can come up with something like that and make it that close to Tuscan Leather, even if they're using a GCMS machine, you should give them free rein to create. I mean, you know, and I think they are starting to do that. You're starting to see some higher-end Middle Eastern lines now come out from houses like Rasasi and stuff like that. And normally I don't talk about clones, but that one is so damn good that it's worth it. You know, especially with Tuscan Leather prices nowadays are nuts, and people are telling me that the new stuff is reformulated. Okay, next we're going to go to another house I'm not big on. I have 2 of their bottles. This is from the house of Parfum de Marly, which, by the way, I've got this little microfiber. I should be making sure the bottles are nice and shiny for you guys. Eugene would be proud. So this is Herod. So Herod is a tobacco fragrance, okay? And a very expensive tobacco fragrance with some sweetness. And it's the sweetness that I don't like. If I could just find a way to, you know, be a chemist and go in there and remove the tobacco, the osmanthus, the frankincense, the cistus labdanum, and remove some of that sweet vanilla that they've got going on, I think I would really like this. I like what's hiding underneath the veil of sweetness in this fragrance, but it's that really syrupy, sweet, that gets me. You know, that's the part that makes it seem, it reminds me of a well-dressed 20-year-old, you know, 25-year-old who got his first job as an intern, real first job at a serious, you know, firm after working hard and getting his, you know, maybe MBA or something. That's the vibe it reminds me of. It's very well done, but it's very sweet, and that sweetness bothers me. And when I wear it, I almost like grit my teeth, you know, because that sweetness gets to me. But the osmanthus, the tobacco, which osmanthus can give off sometimes this like nectarine, leathery type smell. You mix that with that frankincense, tobacco, and the cistus labdanum, it's beautiful. It's just that sweetness. The vanilla needs to be way, way toned down on that. But, you know, I think it's one of their best sellers. And I know people like Sebastian from the Perfume guy love that stuff because he loves sweet fragrances. And so that's something you have to learn too. When you're watching these channels, you know, you have to, whenever they hype a fragrance, you have to take into account their taste. Because Sebastian has hype stuff that I absolutely hate. Joy Amin has hype stuff that I absolutely hate. Joy hype CK Reveal. That is disgustingly sweet, but he loves sweet fragrances, and you'll hear it when he talks. He'll say, oh, this is so sweet. And I really respect Joy, and I like his channel, and I like what he did. I'm so glad he was able to get monetized. But when you blind buy stuff off of someone's hype, you have to take their taste into account. My tastes don't match many of the reviewers who enjoy sweet fragrances' tastes. So something to keep in mind. Okay. Next, we're going to go to a niche house, the house of Etat Libre d'Orange, and this is the Afternoon of a Fawn. This perfume gets almost no hype or talk anymore. I know that Papa Persolays love this stuff, and it's a Ralph Schwiga creation, and this is basically a couple things. It's Immortelle. Okay, this is one of my favorite Immortelle fragrances, by the way. It's Immortelle, rose, frankincense, iris, and a touch of leather, and some warmth of benzoin, and oak moss. The mossiness here almost comes across forest floor-like. You know, forest floor, maybe some leaves falling off the trees, but they're not as, they haven't been sitting idle as long as the forest floor smell that you'll get in something like Yatagan. It's not that far to the forest floor. You know, the leaves haven't been sitting there for 3 months undisturbed, maybe just a couple days. That's the image in my head when I wear the Afternoon of a Fawn. But if you're a fan of spicy, you know, green, rose, that Immortelle, the Immortelle, the way that the Immortelle smells in this fragrance is almost exactly like the color of the juice. And underrated, very underrated fragrance here. The house in general has some good stuff. You know, for a niche house, they put out some good stuff. And their pricing is not insane either. Okay, next, we're going to go to a Thierry Mugler. One of my newest, actually my newest Thierry Mugler purchase. I hopefully will have one more on the way from Moudasir. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're recovering from surgery. And this is this leathery, sweet, you know, patchouli take on Amen with leather. And it's Amen Pure Leather is what it's called. It came out in 2012, of course. And it's leather and patchouli, basically, with that Amen DNA. This is probably the most grown up of the Amen fragrances. And, you know, I say that understanding what I'm saying because some of the Amen fragrances, you know, just because of the sweetness, you know, Amen as a whole, I absolutely love Amen. It's probably my favorite gourmand, you could say. But sometimes it's got that caramel, you know, it's got that sweetness that comes across as slightly, not childish, but maybe adolescent. That's a good word. This is maybe the most grown up of the bunch. It feels like Amen went to the barber, got a proper haircut, you know, has on a nice suit. That kind of vibe, you know. It's still Amen, but it's grown up. And the bottle is absolutely beautiful with the leather. I love this presentation. And I hate what L'Oreal's done with the brand. Absolute travesty what they've done with the brand. L'Oreal has absolutely butchered the house of Thierry Mugler. And I don't think they know what to do with it, to be honest with you. I think they're completely at a loss. This is discontinued, by the way. And what's not discontinued has been butchered. So I never buy anything that just says Mugler. The new rebranding Mugler, because the old ones used to say, for those of you that don't know, the old ones used to say Thierry Mugler. Here, let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There you go. See how it says Thierry Mugler right there? The new ones just say Mugler. And those are the ones that you want to avoid, in my opinion, okay? My honest, subjective, my opinion is go avoid the Muglers, try to find the old Thierry Mugler stuff. Okay, next we're going to go to a Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Another house I'm not huge on, but they do have some decent releases. This is an absolute monster. I wore this probably a month ago. You know, if you've been following my channel, you probably saw the scent of the day when I wore this. And, you know, when I sprayed it, I must have sprayed it around my desk, okay? And I got some on this binder that I use. And for literally, you know, up until maybe like a week ago, I smelled, anytime I would get close to this, I would smell this. This stuff is an absolute monster projector. It's Francis Kurkdjian's Oud, just the regular Oud, not the Extrême, you know, not Satin Mood, not Silk Mood, just Oud from 2012. That's the one that I like. It's Laotian Oud with patchouli, saffron, cedar, and elemi. And, you know, if you can stand the fact that it's beast mode, if you can stand the fact that it's got some woody ambers in here, you know, is there a drop of real oud in here? Who knows? If the brand says yes, we will go with yes. But if you made me guess, Ramsey, is there any real oud in MFK's Oud? I would probably say no. I'd probably say no. It smells like the synthetic oud molecule that these houses use by the boatload. But do I like it? Will I wear it? Absolutely, I do. I like this. I think this is one of the better releases from his line, along with Absolute Pour Le Soir. Even though I kind of struggle with that one, I can see the creativity there. But honestly, I'm not a fan of the house. Not a fan. I think the house is for people who want designer-like perfume in a niche bottle for the brand prestige. That's my advice. That's my opinion. Okay. Now let's go to a house that actually is a true niche house. They do take chances. They do release things that are outside of the norm, but I hate the new bottles. I'll never buy anything new from the brand. And they stopped distributing in the United States. I mean, what? I don't understand what some of these brands were doing. So I only buy the old stuff. This is Serge Lutens Santal Majuscule. Of course, Christopher Sheldrake. Oh man, this is really good. So remember on my Sundowner review yesterday, I said that the Mitsouku, I said that the cacao in the opening almost felt like a thin wafer on your skin. Not like a thick truffle, but like a thin wafer. The cacao here smells very similar. If you don't like your gourmand scents, if you don't like heavy chocolatey, you know, if you don't want to walk around smelling like a Hershey's bar, this is the cacao I would urge you to try because it's so posh. It's so expertly blended with the sandalwood and the Turkish rose. It's not a complex fragrance as far as notes go, but it's a very deep and complex fragrance as far as emotion and feeling goes. This feels very deep, like there's a lot of twists and turns in the maze, and you can really get to know it. I absolutely love this stuff. There's still a couple more Serge Lutens I wish I could find in this presentation. One is Queer Moresque. I cannot find that for the life of me. That's probably the #1 Serge that I want right now. There are others, but Queer Moresque is getting impossible to find. But I'm so glad I found a bottle of Santal Majuscule in this old format. I love these 50 ml bottles. Rich was talking about it on Eugene's stream you know, within the last 3 or 4 or 5 days when we went on Eugene's stream, he was talking about this is his favorite bottle because it does just feel so good in the hand. These 50 mils. I love the clean presentation. I mean, I really wish that the brand would take kind of a hint from the public and go back to what works so well, but I guess they're moving in a new direction. It's unfortunate because the House of Uncle Serge was such a great intro for people. You used to be able to get this for $60, $70. What a great niche fragrance to get to know, you know, to really get to break into something different than designer, but it's kind of starting to go away now. And rumor is the one with the new black label that goes all the way down has been reformulated. I've never smelled it, but that's the rumor, that there is a big reformulation bug at the House of Uncle Serge. So anytime I see these black bottles, like I just recently, or anytime I see these older bottles, I'll buy it. Like I just recently picked up Atabee, and I'm so glad I did in the old formula. That's the kind of stuff I'll kind of hunt for. Have money set aside, and once you see it, just, you know, act. That's kind of what you have to do when you're in this hunting mode. Okay, another niche house, and we talked about Tam Dao earlier, so we're going back to the house of Diptyque, and this is Volutes Eau de Toilette. Now, I like the Eau de Toilette. I think that it breathes a little bit more, kind of like I like Eau de Toilette with Guerlain. Same kind of reasoning with Diptyque. I feel like the notes have a little bit more breathing space. This is a honey, spicy, resinous tobacco. Even though there's no tobacco listed here, which is interesting. There's only 4 notes listed according to Parfumo. Honey, Apopanax, cinnamon, and iris. I think there's a lot more going on. But if you like stuff, speaking of Serge Lutens, if you like stuff like Chergui, which I love Chergui, especially for the winter, it's perfect. This is beautiful. Volutes is absolutely stunning. And Fabrice Pellegrin made this. There's the artwork on the back. And, I mean, yes, it's all of Diptyque. All of Diptyque's, to me, have this, you know, this specific vibe. Not DNA. Like, yesterday I mentioned Annie Tower's house has a tower odd. I don't think there's a Diptyque odd. I don't think there's a DNA per se. But they all have a very similar feeling for some reason. You know, almost like Diptyque is big on candles, right? It's almost like you're smelling a candle in a strange way. Like one of the best smelling candles you've ever smelled. But Volutes is, yeah, I love this stuff for the cold. I mean, if you're a fan of Chergui, if you're a fan of honey, tobacco, iris, this is definitely one to check out. Okay, now let's go to a designer. Not many designers so far. We've got Thierry Mugler, and now we've got Fendi. And this is a fragrance that unfortunately is discontinued. This is a fragrance called Fan de Fendi. Now, Fan de Fendi Pour Homme. Fan de Fendi Pour Homme, sorry. The Pour Homme is important because I think there's a Fan de Fendi for women too. But Fan de Fendi is a trio of perfumers that created this. You've got François Demachy, Delphine Lebeau-Crouillac, and Benoit Lapausa. And this is citrusy, basil, cardamom, pink pepper, geranium, Texas cedar, leather, tonka, and patchouli, Indonesian patchouli. And I'll tell you what, if you listen to kind of some of the things that I say I love, like if you listen to me go on about how much I love Bel Ami or Leonard Pour Homme, you know, those kind of heavy leather fragrances, those old school leathers, but you just can't get into it because you need something, maybe a little more, we'll call it like a starter leather. If you want kind of a good foot in the door, a designer leather, let's say, you're not ready to go buy vintage Bel Ami, this is what I would recommend getting your nose on, because this has this amazing designer-like vibe, but there's a beautiful leather note deep in the dry down. And of course, LVMH discontinued this because why wouldn't they, right? But I think this is a good designer gem. And there's a flanker of this, which we'll talk about. They put it out a couple years. In 2014, they put out a flanker. Assoluto. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more, you know, resonance. This is a great summer leather for me, by the way. If you don't want to wear Bel Ami in the dead of summer, in the 90, 100 degree heat, this is a leather that I would reach for in the summer. A fresh leather. Good fragrance. Okay, now we're going to go to what I would consider to be probably one of the most underrated Hermes fragrances. And I don't know why, to be honest with you. Everything about it should have been a hit. The bottle is a work of art. I love the bottle. The fragrance inside of the bottle is great. The perfumer, Jean-Claude Elena, created this a decade ago in 2012. This is Voyage Hermes. Parfum. So there you go. There's what it looks like. Parfum. Now, they issued Voyage de Hermes in 2010 in Eau de Toilette. And this fragrance is basically about a couple things. It's about the freshness of juniper. It's about the relaxing qualities of sandalwood. And it's about a little bit of an ambery base. And Jean-Claude Elena, I think, created something really special here. I think he was on to something special with the sandalwood base in general, because the sandalwood base here reminds me a little bit of the way he used the sandalwood in Equipage Geranium, a flanker of Equipage, okay? So the sandalwood that he used, it's almost like this tornadic sandalwood. It's really the only way I can describe it. It's like this, you know, sandalwood in a funnel that just continues to go around. And sometimes what hits your nose is one side of the sandalwood. Sometimes what hits your nose is the other side, and it's ever changing. It's almost like the sandalwood is alive, literally. It's a very unique creation. You can tell that he spent a lot of time on that sandalwood note, because obviously he's not out there just using My Source sandalwood. He's creating this note, and I think this is very underrated. And the fact that you can buy 100 mils of this for 80 or 90 bucks or whatever it is, absolute steal at the discounters, in my opinion. If you're a fan of Hermes and you just never got a chance to try Voyage de Hermes Parfum, I would highly recommend it. I like wearing this, believe it or not. Even though it's ambery, I like wearing it. It's woody and spicy. I like wearing it in the summer. It brings out more aspects of that tornadic-like sandalwood. And, I mean, how about the bottle, though? I love it. I love the idea. Fantastic. Like a, you know, something that you would find like on a high-end mahogany desk that's filled with all these little trinkets. You know, that would fit in perfectly. Okay. Next, we're going to go to a niche house that, you know, I like. I'm not the biggest fan of, but I have a bunch of their samples, so I'll be doing some early impressions, and I'll do full reviews on the ones I have full bottles of. This is probably one of my favorites from the house. It's Imaginary Authors, and it's called Memoirs of a Trespasser. And basically, Josh Meyer is the perfumer, released in 2012, of course. This is this smoky, woody vanilla, bourbon vanilla. And there is a little bit of sweetness, a little bit, okay, but it's very intelligently dosed. So you get the whole point, if you're not familiar with the house of Memoirs of a Trespasser, or, sorry, if you're not familiar with the house of Imaginary Authors, they write an entire, like, book on each one. And it's written by an imaginary author. And there's imaginary notes in here, like oak barrels. So there's this oak barrels note in here. There's no oak barrel note, obviously, in perfumery, but there's this oak barrels note. And many a times you'll smell his stuff and go, you know what? Damn it, there is an oak barrel note in there. Whether it's the power of suggestion or what, I don't know. But this is a beautiful resinous. There's a lovely ambrette seed. I love ambrette. It's, Papillon used this lovely ambrette in the fragrance that she made for her daughter's wedding. Eros? Oh, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'll do a video on it very soon. I'll wear it. as my scent of the day. But Ambre, of course, used in Dior Homme. Dior Homme Parfum has a beautiful Ambre. Same with Dior Homme Intense. Ambre and Iris. And here, it's Ambre and resins. So you get lots of benzoin. You get that warmth of benzoin I was talking about yesterday on my Les Nereides video on Oriental Lumpur. You get this warmth of benzoin and the resinous qualities of myrrh with bourbon vanilla. So again, it smells like a, it doesn't smell like, you know, you're smelling some cheap synthetic sweet vanilla. It smells like you're smelling a designer, like you're smelling a vanilla that you can buy at one of the expensive stores like Sprouts or, you know, Whole Foods, something like that. One of the vanillas that's not as sweet. It is still a little bit sweet. And then the other thing is there's a note in here that I don't think is listed, and that's frankincense. There's no frankincense note listed on the bottle, but you will get this smokiness of frankincense, you know, maybe a touch of birch, that kind of thing. And it just adds, this is beautiful in the winter. I absolutely love this fragrance. And it's completely unisex, but, you know, I think it would smell amazing on a woman, to be honest with you. Very seductive, alluring, very enveloping, very warm. And so I will be talking about that hopefully this winter more. All right, let's do some back-to-back Guerlains, shall we? So the first Guerlain we're going to do... Sorry, I knocked over one of my decants. The first Guerlain we're going to do is going to be this. This is Songe d'un Bois d'Etat. Oops, I guess I should show you the right side. This is Songe d'un Bois d'Etat. I was like, why isn't it coming through? Songe d'un Bois d'Etat. So this fragrance came out of a bet. And the bet was Thierry Vasser went to the Middle East over a decade ago, and they basically challenged him. They said, you Frenchmen don't know how to make Middle Eastern perfume. And he took it as a challenge. And he created this spicy, leathery fragrance. Now, people will tell you there's oud in this. There's not. I don't think there's any oud in this. I think what this is it's a Middle Eastern style leather. And I absolutely love this fragrance because it's smoky, it's spicy, it's leathery. There's some bay leaf in here, which is used to perfection in some of my favorite fragrances. Like Jubilation 25 for Men has a bay leaf note. So this is laurel, bay leaf, with lots of saffron, patchouli, cedar, but it's the leather and myrrh in the base that make this. And I love these old bottles. Look how classy they are with the Guerlain B right there. You can kind of see dripping in gold. I love these old bottles. I wish they wouldn't have gone away from them. Maybe they were just too expensive to make because the glass seems very high quality. You can see the etching right there. Anyways, they went to these bottles. This take on the old Guerlain B bottle, if you will. So this is the original. Came out in 2012. And this is what they renamed the fragrance to, Bois Mysterio. It's the same fragrance, I can tell you that. I'll do a comparison one day, an entire video, just to see if I can pick up on any differences, but I think it's the same fragrance. I think Guerlain loves just changing the name of stuff and, you know, discontinuing one, putting out another one. You know, it's the same fragrance from a decade or two ago. They do that stuff all the time. But Bois Mysterio is, I think it's probably one of the best from the line. And, you know, if you like spicy saffron with leather, this is the fragrance that's really going to attract you. And glad I have 2 bottles of this stuff. It's definitely 2-bottle worthy. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Now, in the same year, they released this, which is Encens Mythique. Now, the original Encens Mythique, again, came in this bottle, this style bottle. And so this time they kept the name, but they put it in the new B bottle. And I hear it's basically exactly the same. But Encens Mythique is, again, I mentioned rose a couple times in this video. This is one of the best aldehydic rose with ambergris I've ever smelled. You Yeah, the original was called Encens Mythique d'Orient. Now it's just Encens Mythique. Spicy, floral. There's some pink pepper and saffron. Saffron is a note used over and over in this line, this Middle Eastern line. Thierry Vassar claims they used real ambergris in this as well. Real ambergris. And I have no reason to doubt him. It smells like there's real ambergris in here. And there's this frankincense in the base and underwood. It's absolutely... this fragrance could really move you. I mean, this fragrance is the type of fragrance that could move you to tears. If you're in the right setting and you wear this and you're, you know, in your thoughts and you're just staring out at a beautiful landscape, the picture in your mind, mentally, you should imagine when you think of this perfume, is imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. You're the only one there, okay? No one else is around. It's just you. And you can see the ocean go all the way out. You know, you're basically sitting up high. You can see all the way out to the curvature of the earth, and you can see all the way out to the end. It's just you. You're, you know, maybe there's some clouds forming overhead, and it's very introspective. You know, it's a fragrance that really makes you look inwards. You know, it's not something where you don't wear this for compliments or stuff like that. You wear this to, you know, get parts of your brain firing that are, you know, in hibernation mode. It really does get you thinking. And it's a beautiful creation, beautiful rose, highly underrated. Encens Mythique is great. That peppery rose ambergris. Gotta wear that soon. Okay, next we're gonna go to probably one of my favorite designers from the house, designer fragrances from the house of Dior. This, Jules, and Fahrenheit are probably my three favorite from just their designer range. I think Leather Oud's probably my favorite from the niche from their Dior Privés. But this is Eau Sauvage Parfum. Now, this is the 2012 version. They discontinued this, and they released it in 2017. Francois Demachy took out the myrrh, and he added elemi and some other things. But basically, this is bergamot, myrrh, and vetiver in a nutshell. This is a beautiful work perfume for work. This is so professional and buttoned up. I think this is better than a lot of the Privés they released in the last year or two. The crap he was putting out towards the end of his reign at Dior is pathetic. And I think this is better than a lot of that. This could easily have been in a Privé bottle. The thing about Francois Demachy is, you know, he has done a fantastic job riffing off of other people's work. So Edmond Rudnitska's Sauvage, he gave us Eau Sauvage Parfum, which I think is one of his best works. And I prefer the 2012 version. I know others prefer the one with the elemi, but I prefer the 2012. And I love the way that he used to work with myrrh. He did something really special with myrrh, you know. He did the same thing with Fahrenheit Absolute. So it's a flanker of Fahrenheit. It's called Fahrenheit Absolute. And it had this amazing violet myrrh, this resin with a touch of oud. But the way he used myrrh was absolutely fantastic. And it's here. And that's why this is such a special fragrance to me. And as you can see, I got the 2016 version right before they changed over to the new version. But yeah, this is, I mean, this is high-class perfumery. This is so posh for a designer. It's a very unique smell, too. I've hardly ever smelled anything that smells like this. And just the quality of the ingredients, the way everything smells, very special. So if you can find a bottle, and I got the 200 ml. This is a 200 ml bottle, as you can tell. So I am set on Eau Sauvage Parfum, but I absolutely love this stuff. Oh, amazing. Okay, let's look behind me and grab some stuff off the shelf. First is going to be Roja's Vetiver. So this is Vetiver Parfum pour Homme. This is probably one of the weakest offerings from the house. Is it nice? Yes. Is it mind-blowing? No. Is it groundbreaking? No. It's basically a trick this fragrance is a trick because what he's done is he's taken a chiffre construction, okay? So imagine that you take a classic chiffre. You know, you've got the bergamot top, you've got the labdanum, and you've got the oak moss, right? And some floral, there's usually maybe like a floral heart of some sort. So he's taken that classic chiffre construction, he's amped up a couple things in the base to try to give this extra vetiver vibe. So for example, there's celery seed, there's cedar needles, there is vetiver probably, although I don't know if, yeah, there's vetiver. He's amped up the vetiver a bit in the base. And he added a note in the top called Litsea cubiba. And Litsea cubiba is basically a flower that smells like a citrus. So you do get bergamot and lemon in the top, but the Litsea cubiba is a very long drying flower. So it feels like you're smelling that beautiful citrus opening forever and ever, hours, you know? But I don't like my vetiver like that. I like my vetiver to be rooty, earthy, you know, inky like Encre Noire, that smoky, dark vetiver. And so for me, $500 for 50 mils is a no-no. It's a travesty. I never should have bought this. This is one of my biggest mistakes. The reason I bought this, and I bought this blind, is because Roja, when he did interviews, used to always say, I really hope I'm remembered for my vetiver. Well, this is not what you want to be remembered for. I don't think this is a very good fragrance. And, you know, if I did sell fragrances, which I never do, but if I did ever sell a fragrance, this is one I probably would sell because I much more prefer wearing Guerlain's vetiver or Encre Noire, just to be honest with you. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is this one I really do like. So this is Danger. So this is Danger Parfum pour Homme. Okay, now, Danger is a riff on Heritage, which is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Made my top 10. Oh, I love this stuff so much. It's lavender with tarragon. I love tarragon, by the way. Tarragon's one of those notes I've noticed that I absolutely love. With ambergris, cumin. Basically what he did is he took the Heritage DNA, if you will, and he amped up the cumin, ambergris. He added real ambergris and civet. Kind of did the Olivier Creed trick, which is Olivier Creed used to take Pierre Bourdon's work and just add higher quality ingredients to it, right? And Roja basically took Guerlain's work, which is Heritage, and added higher quality ingredients to it, is basically what he did. He did do more on top of that, but in a nutshell, is it worth $500 for 50 ml? No. Unless you want to really analyze what he did on top of Guerlain's work, which for me, Danger is a love. I love this fragrance because I love Heritage. But, you know, to come out with this and try to call it your own is a little bit shady. You know, it's a little bit shady. Obviously, this is Heritage. You can't get away from that. The heart of this fragrance is Heritage. So, you know, in every Roja bottle of Danger is Jean-Paul Guerlain's creation, basically. And then Roja just sprinkled a little magic stuff on top. But I do like it. And then finally, we've got this, which is with the discontinuation of Pure Distance M. This is one that if you want this style and you can't find vintage Bel Ami, which I would argue instead of paying $500 for 50 ml of this, just go pay $300 and get yourself a shaker bottle of Bel Ami. But, you know, to each their own. This is Roja's Fetiche. Now, Fetiche is Fetiche pour Homme, and I do love this fragrance too, I'll tell you that. It's basically Bel Ami's DNA, which again, at the heart of this is Bel Ami. So again, inside of every Roja bottle of Fetiche is Jean-Louis Suissac's Bel Ami. And there is a couple extra notes that he added to this. So number one, note that's added is there's a fig note. So there's a little bit of a fruity fig note, but it's in the background. What really has been the biggest addition to my nose is frankincense, Bel Ami and frankincense. And it takes that Bel Ami DNA and it makes it even more smoky. You know, and of course he added ambergris. And again, the Creed trick, take creation, use the highest quality ingredients and charge $500 for 50 ml and put a shiny cap on top. And unfortunately, I love this. I absolutely love this fragrance. And just like I love Bel Ami, I wore Bel Ami within the last week and I just gushed all over it. I wore the shaker bottle of Bel Ami and it's just, for me, I love this DNA. I love Pure Distance M. I love any, you know, even there's another Bel Ami take that was created by Antoine Lee called Je suis un homme. This is like a citrusy, fresher opening Bel Ami with some liquor notes. And any Bel Ami DNA, I'm all over it. I absolutely love that accord. And so this is Bel Ami Roja'd up. He Roja'd it up. All right, there's no other way to say it, unfortunately. But I do love this juice. And with Pure Distance M being discontinued, that gets even more important now. And rumor is that it was Roja that cut off Pure Distance M from buying the oils. That's the rumor. So he forced Pure Distance M's discontinuation. Again, he's ruthless. But okay, now, very important fragrance in my fragrance journey. Extremely important. Because this really opened my eyes to the house of Amouage. And it's one of my favorite niche houses. This is Amouage Interlude Man. Now, this was created by Pierre Nagrin. Oh, I love this stuff. It's smoky and spicy. It feels like you're sitting in an opium den. All right, and there's some monk sitting next to you burning incense. There's resinous apopanax. There's resins being burned on coal. There's labdanum. There's oud. There's big patchouli in here, but it's kind of patchouli cloaked in resins. You know, there's this, when you first spray, you're going to get hit with this insane oregano note. And the oregano note seems like from another world, you know, because it just is added to the opening of Interlude Man in a way that you never would expect. It's just a strange note. And when Pierre Nagrin was interviewed, he just said, hey, as a kid, I loved oregano. I like spaghetti. I like putting oregano on top. And so I figured, what the hell? We just put oregano in here at the opening. And damn it works. And I absolutely love this fragrance. As you can see, I've had this for years and years and years. And my juice level is right there. This stuff is an absolute monster. But in the cold, the Blue Beast, forget about it. I mean, it is just... it's perfection in the cold. Although, hell, I've worn this in the heat, and you know what? It performs beautifully. But Interlude Man is... I love everything about it. I love Amouage's presentations. I think these are one of the classiest presentations. They individualize each fragrance with the bottle, with the stone, you know, but they keep that DNA, you know, they've got their staple bottle, but they give each fragrance its own individual touch, which I really like. And they stay true to their heritage because this is supposed to be the top of like a Kandjar dagger. These caps, that's why they're shaped this way. The old Kandjar daggers that the men used to wear back in the day. You'll still see it in ceremonial dress. But yes, I mean, Interlude is, it's the fragrance that, you know, yes, Creeds had their role to play because of, you know, because at the time I was buying old 4-ounce bottles of Creed, like I was buying old bottles of Himalaya, and just the quality completely blew me away. But once I smelled Interlude, I was on this Amouage rabbit hole. I had to have everything. And yeah, Interlude is, it's a very important fragrance for me because of that. Okay, down to the last two. And one actually is a decant. I wish I had a full bottle of this. I don't. But maybe one day. This is MDCI's Chiffre Palatin. This is Bertrand Duchefort at his best. One of his best. Oh, God. I mean, you know, Mitsouku is a Chiffre I absolutely love. Chiffre is a category of fragrances I absolutely adore. You know, this smells amazing right now. But Chiffre Palatin is this Oriental Chiffre blend, okay? So it starts off with clementine, orange. There's tons of resins, labdanum, castoreum, immortelle in the base. There's green touches. There's galbanum. You know, if you like those green Chiffres from days gone by, if you like things like Chanel No. 19, there's these little green touches. There's plum, which is reminiscent of poison. There's florals, there's jasmine and iris and rose. It smells like you're in a beautiful garden, but then you get that benzoin, that waxy styrax. There's leather, tolu balsam, vanilla. It's just, it's perfect for me. I mean, for what I like, this is MDCI's best fragrance. Hands down, bar none. Nothing even comes close to Chiffre Palatin. And since I did only full bottles in my top 100 countdown, this didn't make the list because this is a decant. But if I had a full bottle of this, I can guarantee you this would have made the list. This would have kicked out something. Oh, I just love this stuff. And rumor is it's been reformulated, so try to get the one with the dark juice if you can. The juice should look very dark. If you get one with, you know, clear juice, rumor is you're not going to be as... you're not going to be as impressed. Let's put it that way. And finally, the fragrance that created a revival for me. This fragrance I've owned for a long time, but wearing it again, getting to interview Liz Moores, I really fell in love with this fragrance again. I realized how absolutely beautiful this creation is. It's so, I mean, it's deep. It's a deep, resinous, leathery fragrance. And I wore it in the dead smack of summer. It was 105 degrees, I think, when I wore this. And everything just popped. It was so alive. It was leathery and smoky. The florals came out. You get this beautiful pink lotus with Egyptian jasmine. It's Papillon's Anubis. My God, what a fragrance. Oh, I mean, I used to say Salome is my favorite from the house. And damn it, maybe it still is, but... this is giving it a run for its money. Anubis is, the labdanum in here, the value for money for this, by the way. You know, when you wear this, it wears like an extrait. I mean, the oils will just sit on your skin. But it's an eau de parfum. And she had mentioned that it is, you know, right there on the borderline. If they just went any more, it would be technically considered a pure parfum, an extrait. Pure parfums are selling for double, triple what this is going for 50 mils. She's keeping it at eau de parfum so she can sell it for just over $200. She could go the Roja route, discontinue the eau de parfum, turn it into an extrait, triple the price, and there are still people that would buy it. But she isn't doing that because I think she's just, number one, she's, I think, an honest creator. Number two, I don't think she wants to take advantage of people. I think almost in the same category as Russian Atom, I think she wants to get her work to as many people who would love it as possible and be as fair as possible in doing that. And she did that. There is a lot of good stuff in here. When you buy a bottle of Anubis, you get a lot of bang for your buck. This is definitely backup bottle worthy for me. And the fact that I only have one kind of scares me a little bit because, I mean, this is, I think if I re-ranked my top 100, this would be much higher. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it even made the top 100. But if it didn't, I think it would be in there if I did it again today. That's how much this has been elevated in my mind after wearing it again. And, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you look at your collection, and I usually try to pick out what I want to wear beforehand, the night before. Like last night I chose this. And I do that because I don't want to sit here for 30 minutes hemming and hawing in the morning when I just want to grab what I already picked and go, right? But there are many times lately where a couple fragrances pop in my head that I really want to wear. One is Antaeus. Antaeus constantly comes to mind. Two is Bel Ami. I wore Bel Ami just the other day. It reached out to me, forced me to wear it. And the other one is Anubis. This constantly comes like, I just want to wear this. It is an experience, a whole journey. I mean, in the entire day, that's the other thing about this fragrance, is the entire day, this stuff transitions and changes. There are so many moving parts to this fragrance. It never gets boring. I love the leatheriness of there's this like smooth operator suede that tends to come late into the dry down with the saffron, frankincense, labdanum, sandalwood, immortelle, and that floral combination. Whatever she created with the pink lotus and Egyptian jasmine and maybe a little bit of rose. Oh my God. It is just, I mean, it's eye-rolling. It's literally eye-rolling good. So that's 2012. Hell of a freaking year. At least in my collection, I've got a lot of samples that I plan on talking about with you guys very soon. I hope you took a couple and put them on the watch list from this video. I hope you find these videos enlightening. Sorry it's an hour and 16 minutes, but what can I do? I ramble. Put me on 1.5 times speed and let me go. You know, you can change the speed of the video if you want on the settings. So put me on 1.5 or 1.75 speed and you'll be through with this video in no time. But I do appreciate the support that everyone's given me. Seriously, it's been an honor and a privilege doing these for you guys. To all, you know, I appreciate every single one of my subscribers. If you do like and subscribe and comment, I know you all have a choice. I know you don't have to do that, but it is very much appreciated when you do. So, cheers, everybody. Do let me know what some of your favorites are from 2012. And let me know if there are some that are not on this list that I should look into. Again, obviously, you can't own everything, but I'm always looking to learn more. So cheers, guys, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow with another video. Bye, guys.